All right, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'll be your co-host for the office hours session. Today, we're going to talk about something new that's coming up in UIM. It's a high availability solution for infrastructure data fed into AIOps or Broadcom solution. Basically, we bringing up some enhancements in our OI connector. The pipeline that sends data from UIM to OI, and we're going to touch upon how this enhancement is going to help you get more value out of your deployment, and we'll be following up with a live demo to show you what's coming up. All right, I'll be joined by Vishwanath Imami. He's and we'll take questions after we're done with the demo. All right, we can probably go to next slide, please. A standard disclaimer, whatever we're going to show today, it's coming up. It's going to be in the next release of the OI connector, but it is, for all intents and purposes, future development work that's been shared right out of the oven right as of now. So liable to change, standard disclaimer. Next slide, please. All right, we'll start off with a bit of an overview of the journey that we've had with OI connector, how it fits into the picture, and we'll do a brief summary of the new feature that's coming up about high availability of the connector, and we'll quickly jump into the demo and wrap it up from there with some questions. Next slide, please. All right, so thinking about the larger observability picture, UIM is an integral role of Broadcom's offering in observability. It's the infrastructure monitoring side, as you all would probably know, and one of the key aspects of developing this entire app infra network capability is observability, is getting data reliably and consistently from DX which is rich in all infrastructure monitoring data, into DX operational intelligence, uh, which is key benefit of building up advanced service-based analytics, giving you much more richer, much more uh, intelligent outcome out of the data points that all the traditional monitoring tools gather. So this connector becomes quite critical in if you think about observability and its future in respect to how things are going to work out in the future, and what best we can get out of the data points that we already collect. Next slide, please. So Operational Intelligence Gateway, that's the official name, but we lovingly call it OI connector. It's been a while in the works. We've made pretty significant enhancements across multiple versions, and just to give a glimpse of some major additions during the history, starting with the version numbers listed there, we've made enhancements around making sure that the devices are synchronized across both the products, making sure that the synchronization works incrementally, so you don't need to do an entire inventory refresh every time there's a difference. We made it easy to backlink from operational intelligence into UIM for alarms and operator console links. We made filtering and usability enhancements, performance enhancements along the way. We've also, in some previous versions, made enhancements towards auto reconciliation of alarms, just to make sure that whatever data points are being provided in either of the products are consistent, are reliable, gives the best user experience in terms of reliability in those cases. And over the more recent version releases, what we have done is we've added capability of deploying this OI connector not only on the primary hub on the UIM side, which where it used to reside, but also enabling it to be deployed on secondary hubs as well as any robot that's connected to the secondary hub. That gives a unique leverage that we use for this high availability capability being developed on top of it. Right. So at the very basic level, at the very high level, what we can talk about is to make high availability a reality. There are just basic three requirements. You need to have a couple of instances of your operation intelligence connector, that's OI connector. The primary hub has the primary instance. Secondary instance you can place either on the secondary hubs or any robot that's connected to the secondary hubs. You need to have the same connector configuration across these instances. There's a flag called connect to primary hub that needs to be set to true. And the data engine address across these instances needs to be same. That's it. Nothing beyond that. It's as simple as that. As you see in the diagram there, both the both the OI connectors remain operational, remain active, and essentially are redundancies built on top of each other. So in case of a normal operation, this is how architecturally it looks like. Just a single connector sending sending data from UIM to OI. And you can see the subscription status there. This keeps getting polled, getting checked intermittently. As long as the primary operational intelligence connector is enabled, it's active, that's a normal operation that keeps happening. But the moment primary OI connector goes down, the subscription status is swept. Subscription check in the subsequent polling cycle identifies it's down, and the secondary connector automatically picks up the slack from there. There's no loss of data. There's no missing or blank data points. Everything being queued up, being cached, is picked up, and operations continue as is without any human intervention, without the need to bounce services or do anything. No configuration changes. It just works. Right. So that's a very high level overview of what we are working on. It's going to be out in the next OI connector release. This functionality will be G8, and we'll be moving on to a live demo of this functionality. I'll call upon Vishwanath to take it forward.
Good day all. Hope you are able to hear me.
Yep.
Vishwanath, you can now share your desktop.
Yes. Just a minute, I'm trying to share. Hey all. This is hope you are able to see my screen.
We can.
So I'll walk you through the quick demo, and I'll show you the configuration later so that things are little, so that we are all on the same page. Now this is a regular setup which we are having our primary hub and robots connected to primary hub. I have a couple of robots connected to primary hub, and the other one is a secondary hub. And I have one robot connected to secondary hub. I have a OI connector instance running on primary hub. You can see here. Okay, this is the OA connector instance running on primary hub. The other OA connector instance is running on secondary hub. You can see it here. And currently, the primary hub OA connector instance, it's actually, I'll show you the log so this is actually functioning. You can see the total time to execute the HTTP request and connecting to NAS, etc., are printed here. The payloads which are going to the DXOA are printed here. So this is operational. On the secondary hub, the OA connector instance, which is also active. You see the log here, log status here. Tries to connect to the queues on the primary hub, but at any point there will be only one subscriber and the primary is already connected, so it starts sending the messages to the queue and it's operational. This there is an interval which tries to poll a 5 minutes interval. Let us say suppose there is a 5 minutes interval, it tries to poll to the queue whether to subscribe to the queue, whether already the primary instance OA connector instance is already subscribed. Now let me try and see whether I can subscribe or not. So something like that. So what happens here is, let me make the primary instance down, primary OA connector instance down. So this is down. It's trying to subscribe. There is one more OA connector instance which is running. There are multiple OI connector instances which are running here. So the machines just got restarted. So I'm just deactivating the other OI connector instances. Now we are left with the OA connector instance, which is on the primary hub, which we have shut down, and the secondary hub, which is active and running. The robot connected to the robot of secondary hub, having parameter connect to primary hub as true. Now it started picking up. So the next subsequent interval means 5 minutes interval where the queue on the primary hub, I repeat, the queue on the primary hub here the AXA gateway alarms and the AXA gateway.cos. The subject, if you see here, bear with me. Now the ID you see here gets updated to the secondary hub robot. So And once I start my primary hub instance again, the primary OI connector instance again, I'm activating because I noticed after a while that this is down. So as an admin persona, I have noticed that this is down and came back again. It resumes. Now just go here, check the log again. This starts again trying to subscribe because primary is already subscribed. Now this loses its control. So the secondary robot OI connector instance loses its control. And if we see the hub again, hub status again, the queue gets updated with the ID of the primary OI connector instance. So this is the primary OI connector instance. Just to repeat the cycle, what I'll do, I'll just try to down this again. I'm deactivating the probe OI connector probe of primary instance. And since this is already running, we'll check the status of the queue status here. Now it started picking up. So if you see the ID again, this gets refreshed. So what's happening behind the scenes is when there are two OI connector instances, one on the primary and the other on the secondary robot, or any robot attached to the primary hub, each 5 minutes, there is a polling interval for whether the queue is subscribed or not. Once already an instance is subscribed, so the other one, it tries in a subscribing mode. It will be in a subscribing mode, and it consistently in subscribing mode till the primary is down. After that, the next subsequent interval, it will try to subscribe. Just like I'm just trying to correlate the pictorial representation which Ravishu has shared. So it gets activated again, and automatically there is no lag in the communication, and the messages starts flowing from UIM to DXY without any issues. So what is the configuration? The important configuration to be considered here when the end user tries to deploy for the first time on the primary hub, the most important thing is to use the probe configuration GUI to fill the details, and once these are filled, select the alarm severity details, UIM groups, if at all they are available. I mean, you can try to just use the shuttle control to move onto the right hand side, select the groups, and these are by default available. So these parameters you can, if there are more number of cost probes you are interested in, then add a pipe and put those probe names. And then later on the DOI configuration, give the tenant ID, the URL and the tenant token. Give the OC details also. The reason why we don't recommend to use the raw configure is the passwords here are encrypted. And the encryption from the GUI is always done in a proper scheme where it accepts the UTF-8 char set. So that's the reason the token which is provided from the DXOA is actually encrypted here and saved on the configuration file. So once these details are saved, use the save button, and then you can go to the, the end user can go to the probe configuration setup, install location. Copy this configuration as a backup and save it in any location. Then later on, subsequently, when you try to deploy the OI connector probe from the archive onto any robot, make sure that the CFG file is copied onto that machine. So you need not, reinvent all the probe configuration again and again for each and every robot where you deploy the OI connector probe. So that it can be a time-saving effort. So that's one tip we can give. So the important aspect here is once you deploy, once the end user deploys the probe on robot connected to primary hub, the important aspect is to have connect to primary hub be set as 2, and the data engine parameter, it has to be specified, must and should specified, so that OI connector actually gets the connection details from the data engine there, and it opens a remote JDBC connection to fill the cache. So that's the whole point of having this two important parameters to be set as recommended. So with this, the demo is done. We are open to take questions.
Thank you, Vishwanath. That was really good, and folks really excited about this feature. It's been in the works for a while, and it's part of our renewed focus towards ensuring that our OI UIM connectivity, the connectors, are stable, are resilient, are hardened enough to meet any enterprise scale deployment requirements. We shall continue working on this path. We have a bunch of exciting features lined up towards making sure that OI connector is living up to the expectations what we have put against it. And yep, any questions around these capabilities we'll be open to answer,
Hey,
please.
Ravishu, I always have a couple questions. And the first one is, do you have a sense of when this might go into beta?
This is right now wrapping up few rounds of QA testing, so it's pretty much ready for GA. We'll be probably releasing it over the next month or so. It would be available as the next OI connector release.
And this isn't tied to a main body of DXUIM, for example. This is not necessarily tied to 23.4, or is it?
Nope, it's an independent connector release, so it works with both the GA streams, 20.4 as well as 23.4.
Gotcha. And I'll go back to my beta question. Do you plan a beta program, or you plan to go right to GA?
No, this would be going straight to GA. We plan to launch sometime during the next month or so, depending on how QA cycles go around it.
And I know the reference in your slides was to DX operational intelligence, which kind of implies on-premise, but it would also apply to DX SaaS for operational intelligence, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's agnostic. It works on whatever endpoint you connect UIM connectors to.
Yeah, cool. Any more? I'm always happy to give. I see Raghu just jumped in, so hold on, Raghu. Let me find you in my attendee list. I'm going to bring you on live. You are now unmuted. Raghu, are you there?
Sorry, I joined
Raghu?
late for this meeting. Am I audible right now?
Okay.
Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I can hear you.
So actually, I was working with Ashish on one of the issue and also technical support. I got some response from Ashish and also Vishwanath and also Anand responded. Thank you for that, for the update actually. So I think this is related to this OA connector only. So when you say the GA release, the next version, so are we going to target to fix this alarm synchronization and inventory synchronization issues between DXY and UIM with this version?
Yes, we have not set up a particular version as team is working on it aggressively. The inventory synchronization issue that you highlighted. As soon as we have a reliable fix for it, we'll be packaging up independent of this release. If both the issues as well as its capabilities are nearing completion towards similar time frames, we'll be doing it out in a single release. But none of them would be waiting for the other, as we believe both are critical in their own rights.
Okay. So is there any location where this recordings get stored so that I can refer it later because I could not join the meeting early at 11 when it started? Steve, can you share me this recording if this is getting stored at some location where we can access?
I can do that.
Okay.
Hey, any more for any more? Again, happy to give folks time back. I certainly can use it. Okay, I'm going to call it a wrap. Ravishu and Vishwanath, great job. Exciting feature. I agree with you, Ravishu, that it's important that data is available to our AIOps solution, and high availability is a key part of that. So thanks again, everybody. Bye for now.